I am not just any Kingdom Hearts fan. I am the Kingdom Hearts fan. I've got everything. Mangas, books, audio soundtrack. I even plan on buying a Japanese guidebook very soon. I don't even speak Japanese! It is this kind of emotional connection that I have with Kingdom Hearts. It is nearly impossible to describe in words what this game series means to me. I was 6 or 7 when I got my PS2, and the very first game that I ever bought on it and played like crazy was Kingdom Hearts 1. I was, in my youth, a very introvert person. And I know, I should start with the review already, but I need to get this off my chest. Because this video series, it's not like the rest. This is something special. Something very personal. Like I said, I was not the most socialized child in my hometown, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm now any different. I made friends, real friends, first with the age of 10 or 11, and in all this time, Kingdom Hearts was in a way my temple, my sanctuary. It's the game that taught me the value of friendship, of honesty, that darkness may appear strong, but it always loses against light. I know that some of you think that Kingdom Hearts is too cliché, too sweet, too childish, but I disagree. When you become an adult, it gets even better. And stuff like, Goofy, Donald, we are going to be friends forever. It doesn't bother me at all. It's gay, it's ultra gay, but I love every second of it. And here's why. I remember when I got to the first town in Kingdom Hearts, and I looked up to the stars remembering that they said that every star is another world. And I thought to myself, this was my 6-year-old me, mind you, so I had no idea about copyright and all that. But in that moment I thought to myself, this universe, it contains everything. All movies, all characters, all stories, they are all here, all in this moment. Can you imagine what it was like for a nerdy little kid? That feeling? Not only your favorite cartoon characters all united under one sky, but everything in your imagination. I will never forget it. Never. This is Kingdom Hearts, a retrospective. The birth of Kingdom Hearts was a combination of various coincidences, but also the result of people just wanting to make a great game. People just want to make a game that is fun? I have to call the EA Inquisition. Someone has committed terrible heresy. It all started when Tetsuya Nomura, designer and director for the Final Fantasy games, overheard a conversation between Shinji Hashimoto, the executive of Square Enix, and the creator of Final Fantasy, Hironobu Sakaguchi, talking about the idea of using Mickey Mouse in a game. That idea stayed with Nomura, and sometime later he happened to meet a Disney executive in an elevator because Disney and Square Enix worked in the same studio at that time. Yeah, well, of course a video game or a movie was going to be the result of that. It's like putting a bunch of pubescent teenagers at summer camp all in one cabin. Sooner or later someone is going to get pregnant. And so Nomura pitched his idea, which was then brought to the higher ups at Disney, and they gave their thumbs up. So Square Enix got the rights to their characters and the game could finally be made. A crossover universe between all Final Fantasy and all Disney worlds. And with that out of the way, let's finally begin. This is Kingdom Hearts. We open up with the most super duper fresh swag pop song of the decade, Simple and Clean by Hikaru Utada, American-Japanese singer who won several prizes and was called by the Japan Times one of the most influential artists of her time. As the music video progresses, the boy that we see gets thrown around by waves, loses consciousness, wakes up, falls asleep again, vanishes and reappears at different daytimes only to fall down and vanish again. I have no idea what's going on, but it's amazing! The music video ends and we finally can really start the game, at some bizarre place made out of big pillars that look like they are part of a church. This realm, which is called the Dive to the Heart, is a sort of dream world inside the heart of a person that serves as a tutorial level. Here we choose our first skill set, learn combat, how to move and so forth. We also see on a glass all the different Disney princesses, but don't know what they mean yet. Anyway, can I just say that the music in this level is amazing. The entire soundtrack of all the games is great, but this one has always been my favorite. It gives you just the right feeling in your guts, the feeling for coming adventure and freedom, the battle between the forces of good and evil that is about to ensue. It gets me pumped up so hard every time, and this is just a tutorial level! As we progress further in this strange world, we encounter a beam of light. When we step closer, our shadow transforms into a giant replica of ourselves, which then transforms into a monstrosity while a voice in our head tells us we shall not be afraid. That shouldn't be too hard. Suddenly our sword disappears and a dark fog begins to surround us, swallowing us up. And that was Kingdom Hearts. Great start, but I think they could have expanded the story a bit more. No, of course that wasn't the end. We actually wake up at the beach, where a girl named Kairi wakes us up and disapproves of the fact that our main character named Sora is sleeping while there is still so much work to do. When they begin to chat, a boy named Riku joins them and says both of them are lazy. They talk a little bit more and decide they should make a race down the beach before returning to work. Gotta love the work ethics of little children. What are they exactly working on? Well, Sora and his friends live on Destiny Island, a group of small islands in the middle of the ocean. Although it's a beautiful place to grow up, the children get increasingly bored by it and want to see something different. So they began building a raft, with which they want to sail out and discover new worlds. You kids do know that planets are round, right? How do you expect that to work? Do you think at some point you will just fly off into space? The group even admits that their plan has holes, but they say if it should not work, they will think of something else. Anyway, Sora gets a list of items that the gang needs to finish the raft, like wood, sail, rope, and turtles. Don't forget the turtles. So Sora gets all the needed materials and oh my god, I love this soundtrack. In fact, this song is so awesome that I will let doctors implant an MP3 player inside my brain that gets its energy from my body, so I can listen to it as long as I live. Funerals are going to be a little bit difficult from that point on though. As we are gathering the items, we have also the option of fighting the other kids on the island, who, you will notice, are from different Final Fantasy games. Sora returns to Kairi and Riku, and they decide that it was enough for the day, and they should go home, but not before watching the sun go down and talking about life, basically. We then cut over to Disney Castle, where our beloved silly duck Donald, who is the royal magician, is on his way to greet King Mickey. When he enters the throne room to a much smaller door and a giant one, makes me wonder what all those trees had to die for, he realizes that Mickey is nowhere to be found. Thankfully, His Highness wrote a letter before leaving, and given Donald's reaction, it's not good news. Considering this is Donald Duck, you should all stop him from running down the hallways immediately before he is starting a butterfly effect that will result in the castle in flames. A new day on the Destiny Islands begins, and the group of friends is nearly finished. All they need now is supplies for the adventure. So obviously it's Sora's job to go and play hunter and gatherer, which he does, but as he is about to get some edible mushrooms, he finds himself in a cave where he and Kairi used to write at the walls as little kids, and he takes a moment to revel in memories. He begins to look at a picture of him and Kairi and adds a papu flute to it, which, according to the folklore in his world, connects the fates of two people for all eternity, showing Sora's wish never to be separated from his friends. But suddenly, a strange man in a robe appears. "Do you want candy?"
I've come to see the door to this world.
Huh?
This world has been connected.
Well, what are you talking about?
Tied to the darkness. Soon to be completely eclipsed.
After this very cryptic message, the man disappears without a trace. But Sora doesn't feel the need to mention the creepy man that was watching him to his friends, as he returns to Kairi and gives her the supplies. With the raft now finished, Sora and Kairi look at the sunset and they talk about how they have changed over time.
You know, I was a little afraid at first, but now I'm ready. No matter where I go or what I see, I know I can always come back here. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, Kairi, you will always be able to go back home. Unless there's an army of godless creatures that has the ability to devour souls of people and entire worlds. But how likely is such a scenario?
What's that?
Damn you, cruel destiny! See what I did there with Destiny and Destiny Island? The children, now more sure than ever that they can face everything as long as they are together, go home and get some needed sleep before their adventure begins. We cut back to Disney Castle where Queen Minnie and Daisy have found out about King Mickey's disappearance, despite Donald's best attempts to keep it a secret. That is, he ran up to Goofy and told him in a haste without looking around the garden and checking if they are really alone. The letter says that the stars in the skies are disappearing, and that Mickey has gone to find out what is going on. He also gave Donald and Goofy a very special mission: find the key and his master. The key will be crucial to the survival of all living things. Goofy and Donald get introduced to Jiminy Cricket, who will record their travels. Reluctantly, Goofy follows Donald to one of the Kingdom's spaceships, which makes me wonder how he got the job as captain of the Royal Guard if he is this cowardly. I guess if you live in peace for too long, you forget how to fight and then won't be able to when the time comes. So, having constantly war is a good thing! At least, I think that was the message. We Germans are monsters. Anyway, the duo arrives at the hangar, where Chip and Dale, or in German Chip and Chap, the cute little engineers prepared a ship. You know, when I think about it, I actually don't want to live in Toontown. I mean, think about it. Your entire life is nothing but practical jokes on you, day in, day out. We cut back to Sora in his not even in the slightest clean room, who has been in deep thoughts about what he discussed with Kairi, and probably is thinking about other coming-of-age stuff too. But the night has other plans for him, as he realizes that a storm is coming, and he fears it may hit the raft and destroy it. Then why the hell did you leave it all in the open? Seriously, if your kids had some good old German work ethics, that wouldn't have happened. Sora reaches the other island and sees that Riku's and Kairi's boat are also there. You know that by just looking at them? I mean, they look exactly the same. And how do you know which one belongs to who? Can you smell it? Even more important question, if you have perfectly functioning boats, why did you bother to build a raft? Without a warning, the strange black creatures that also appeared in Sora's dream begin attacking him. Sora, not in possession of any real weapon except his wood sword that Riku and he used to beat the crap out of each other, flees and finds Riku mysteriously looking in the distance.
Once we step through, we might not be able to come back. We may never see our parents again. There's no turning back.
It's interesting that you would bring our parents, because what do your parents say about the fact that you and your friends want to go away from home just like that? Bye, Ma! Me and my friends are going on adventures with a raft that we built ourselves. Where's my whiskey? I am kidding, of course. I know they did all of this in secret. But what is more amazing is that the parents were never really brought up again ever since. Let the conspiracy theories begin. Anyway, the same black fog that swallowed us up in our dream begins now to swallow us up here, and Sora tries desperately to reach Riku. For some reason, I am not sure what this is supposed to achieve, since we are both being devoured right now, but whatever, maybe Sora wants to hold hands before he dies. Just before all seems lost, a bright light shines in the darkness. Sora opens his eyes and finds in his hands the Keyblade. Now with this weapon he can hurt and even kill those creatures. He fights his way to the cave where Kairi is looking with empty eyes on the door, just before it opens and reveals darkness. Sora tries to catch Kairi, but she is like a ghost. He then gets pushed out of the cave and loses consciousness. Have you ever noticed how often video game characters get knocked out without repercussions? Batman, BJ Blazkowicz, Booker DeWitt. That's some kick-ass vitality right there. They don't have organs, they have motors. Sora wakes up and all that is left of his home is one small platform hovering in space. The black creature with the Medusa hairstyle appears behind him and he fights for his life. Before he actually can defeat the monster, however, he and it get absorbed by the black sphere in the skies. We meet Donald and Goofy again, who arrive in Traverse Town in search for a man named Leon, who will, according to the letter, explain the situation to them. Pluto, who smells the smelly smell of our hero that I'm pretty sure uses enough hairstyle products to finance an entire factory all by himself. Hey, he keeps the economy alive, okay? Finds him and wakes him up by licking his face. Here's a fun fact. Sora originally was supposed to look like a human-animal hybrid, but that was scratched and the creators decided to give him red pants and white gloves, since that is more what Mickey Mouse looks like. Sora, first believing it was all just a dream, quickly understands that nothing could be further from the truth. He also soon realizes that he must be in another world. As he stumbles through the city, he gets attacked yet again by the evil creatures from his island. And he walks past Donald and Goofy. So many frickin' times. Oh my god, these three miss each other more often than Fievel and his father. After Sora returns to the main district, a man approaches him and demands to see the Keyblade, but Sora refuses and a fight starts. But it doesn't matter if you win or lose, since Sora will be so exhausted that he falls over. Okay, Leon will in the cutscene where you win not whoop your ass that bad, but he will still whoop it. Oh yes, that's Leon from Final Fantasy VIII, in case you didn't notice. He and Yuffie bring him to a nearby hotel, and finally Sora gets a few answers to just what the hell is going on. Leon explains that the creatures that attacked him are called Heartless. They search the darkness in people's hearts and devour them, making them into Heartless as well. They are basically zombies with dark powers, so to say. He continues and says the Keyblade is the reason the Heartless will follow him from now on, since it's the weapon that can stop them for good. Sora, like many victims of war, just now is able to comprehend what has happened to him. He lost his home, his family, everything he ever knew. He doesn't know where to go, what to do, or even if Riku and Kairi made it out okay. Yay, adventure time! Meanwhile, in the next room, Donald and Goofy, who have been picked up by Aerith, also get explained the same thing, with some extra information, of a man named Ansem who appears to have studied the Heartless and wrote it all down in a report. After Sora has calmed down a bit, he, Yuffie and Leon get attacked by Heartless. Leon tells us that we should not waste any time fighting the small foot soldiers, but find the leader to stop the invasion. So he says, and so it shall be done. Sora fights his way to the center of the city, where Donald and Goofy got kicked from a balcony by a Heartless right on Sora's head. The earth begins to shake and the leader Heartless falls down from the sky, a giant metal armor with no limbs that attacks with his arms and foot separately. Rayman is evil? They defeat the armor and introduce one another. Donald and Goofy explain their situation and Sora explains his. They agree to be a team and search for King Mickey, Riku and Kairi together, under one condition. Their ship is literally powered by smiling, so no sad faces.
Happy?
That's one funny face.
If you think that's funny, then you haven't even seen him in the manga yet. Little do they know, however, that they are being watched by the rogues gallery of the Disney universe. What's funny is that they are all shrouded in shadows, as if I didn't know who each of them is. I really wonder who this tentacle lady could be. Maybe Morgana. Anyways, from the evildoers back to the trio, which is actually not a trio at all, but it always gets called like that. Jiminy gets so unfairly ignored. Donald suggests that we should stock up on supplies since we have absolutely no idea what is waiting out there. We do so, and in the item shop we find Tick, Trick and Track, or Huey, Dewey and Louie in English. What are they doing here? Travis Town is a city for refugees. Did Donald throw out his own nephews? Get out of here, you little bastards. I'm tired of your shit. You're scary, Kingdom Hearts. You're scary. Anyway, the group is packed and ready to go. Ready to save their friends. Ready to save the universe. Ready to begin an incredible journey. By which we will join them, my friends. Every step of the way. ZgermanGuy out. And auf Wiedersehen.